Hello coders! So today I would like to talk about a regret. Not the regret, but a regret that I've got in my web development career. Hopefully this will allow other people to not do some of the mistakes that I've done, and I've done my fair share. I'm 40 now, and I started web development straight from school. So from school, I then went to colleges, studying programming, university, studying programming. I think it was web development and multimedia, and then straight into a career. The first thing was working at a web agency. So I've been a developer for all my life, and if I can pass on some advice, one piece of advice is not to overcommit. And this is going to sound a bit weird. Not to overcommit on things because you feel like you need to. So I'll give you a bit of context. So when I started the career, it became very obvious to me that there was a lot of stuff that I just wasn't aware of. And so I would work evenings and weekends leveling up my skills. And I definitely applaud people who do that. That's a really good thing to do. However, that can, if you've got a mindset like me, can become a bit of a habit. And that can translate into actually doing other side missions for the companies that you're working for, either on a freelance basis or on a full-time basis, in evenings and weekends when really you should be enjoying life. And that, I think that has to be one of my regrets, is not giving myself enough time to grow as a person and to socialize and focus that time in working for clients and companies on the hours in which it's not your usual working hours. When I was working full time, I would work freelance, right? I was even a freelancer when I was at university and at college. So I didn't have much free time, and I suppose this is what one thing that I want to say is that free time is very important, and I think the older you are, the more importance that has. The realization that actually that time is evaporating as the years go on, and looking back on my teenage years and my early adult years, especially the first 25 years, 30 years of my life, I've work focused, work focused, and I do believe that you can get to the outcome that you want to, but perhaps in a different way. And maybe even if I was making these claims that, oh, I've had these amount of clients and I've done freelance and I've done full time and I'm now a contractor, even if I didn't get to that point for 5 years more than where I am at the minute, that's 5 years that perhaps I would have had more in terms of the socializing space, in terms of making friends, making connections, traveling the world, and being aware of the social bubbles that I think that are very, and the human connections that perhaps I've missed on. So that's a regret. So in short, I recommend people, if they see that there is a gap in knowledge and they need to fill that gap in knowledge, then they should obviously use some free time to fill that gap if that's what they're passionate and they believe in. However, I think that you need to be cautious with how much time you're actually spending away from family and friends, and making sure that you are able to provide that time, and make a clear distinction between what is work and what is play, because, and this is something that we don't talk about as an adult, what is play? And I admit that when I would be down here with friends, family, right, I would perhaps be working on a laptop, watching a film. Everybody would be watching a film, but I would be working on a laptop. Now that isn't free time. That is time that I wasn't in the room. I was working for a project, for a client, for a company, for my own learning development, but I wasn't, but my presence was within the room, sure, and people were there, but they could see that I had the laptop up. They could see that actually that was a barrier of communication, and I don't think that was particularly healthy. So what I would suggest is, if you're able to allocate some time, say this is my learning time, this is my client time, this is my company time, whatever, and do that in a different room to the people that you think you're interacting with, but you're actually not. So don't fool yourself in thinking that. So that's a practical thing that I would encourage people to do, is actually carve out some time and say this time is work time, this time is play time, and do not let those two things merge. I'm trying to be very on it when I'm, in my 40s, that I don't bring the laptop down into the living room anymore, because when you're, why is it called a living room when you're bringing work involved? Because that's working, right? My working room is up in the office. My living room is down here. So be cautious. Be cautious, and basically value your time. Value your time. Anyway, thanks for listening to my rant, and I've got two sleepy dogs. Cheers. Bye bye.